Hey there, Tero Ikavalko here. I thought that on this video we should have a look at the basic structure of our vocal instrument. A voice is, in a way, is quite unique instrument since it's, at least to the best of my knowledge, it's the only instrument where the instrument and the instrumentalist is basically one and the same thing. And voice is also quite interesting because it can produce quite a range of different type of tones. And to add on that, there also isn't like two same instruments in the world. We all have a bit of a different vocal instrument. There are a lot of different type of voices. Basically our vocal instrument consists of this part of our body. We can divide it basically into three different central sections. First one is the lungs, then we have our larynx, where are the vocal folds. Vocal folds or vocal fold vibration can be considered one important part of the instrument. It's the so-called voice source. And then we have sort of a resonator above the vocal folds. It's usually referred to as vocal tract. It starts from the vocal folds and ends in our lips or nostrils. And all of these three parts of our vocal instrument are very central, of course, and all the exercises that we would be doing kind of aim to improve the behavior of these three parts and aim to get them work together with optimal use of force and so forth. Let's begin a little bit by taking a look at what is going on with our lungs, how they affect voice production. Well, air is kind of the driving force of our instrument. From our lungs, we kind of, when we produce sound, we push the air from our lungs between vocal folds, and it's that airflow that actually makes the vocal folds vibrate and make the sound. So you can imagine it's quite important how we are able to, what type of flow we are able to produce. We actually produce the flow by increasing the pressure inside of our lungs by kind of diminishing the kind of the volume of our lungs, or making the lung dimensions smaller. And it actually affects quite many things, how much we are using this pressure or force from the lungs to produce the sound. It's not everything that matters, but it matters quite a bit, so to say. For instance, when we're singing with softer tones, or quieter tones, we usually tend to use less force or energy from the lungs. And when we sing with louder voice, we tend to use more power from the lungs. So one thing that we are practicing is how to kind of optimize the operations or the operating or how the kind of the muscles controlling the lung dimensions operate. And if we look at our then the next part of the voice source, or the vocal fold vibration. Vocal folds are two about 1 centimeter long kind of folds they can be considered kind of a wall that can the kind of the first purpose of vocal folds is actually to secure our lungs from getting any foreign objects. So they quite easily tend to shut our throat to secure it. That's kind of the primary purpose actually of the vocal folds, but they have this very interesting secondary purpose, making voice, which we're now more interested. So the vocal folds anyway, they are two small kind of these folds that when air starts to go between them and they are close enough, they start to vibrate and making sound. And of course, naturally, since we're talking about the actual voice source, there are plenty of things that can go wrong or can improve the voice production at that level. Funnily, at this level, the muscles are quite small and they tend to be hard to feel the exact muscles and try to control them. But anyways, what we're doing here, we have exercises that tend to aim to improve the behavior of the vocal folds, whether or not it's something that we're doing really consciously. I mean, exactly the adjusting. The exercises aim to improve how they behave. To give an example, our vocal folds can vibrate in a way that they're a little bit further apart of each other. We tend to get more breathy tones, and then when we have them more closer together, we get more like this kind of more metallic, brassier tone. And also the vocal folds can actually vibrate in different ways. We have something called registers. You might have heard falsetto register or chest register. These registers are at the level of the vocal folds. There's a difference between these registers. We're not going to go too much into this thing, but basically falsetto, or I guess there can be a little bit different type of falsettos as well, but that might be considered maybe as a falsetto, and then this chest register type of vibration. But that's also interesting, actually, the kind of what happens here in lungs, the power that we apply, it also has an effect how vocal folds start to vibrate. So although we divide our instrument into these sections, this is quite interactive instruments. What happens here affects here, and also what happens above the vocal folds in the vocal tract affects both the vocal tract and actually the lungs. So quite complicated system, but there are ways to improve its behavior. And finally, let's go to the level of the vocal tract. In the science, voice science, it's often referred to as filter because it kind of shades filters the sound that comes out of vocal cords. Just a moment, my baby is eating lamb. Yeah, vocal tract kind of affects the sound coming from the vibration of the vocal folds. It can also kind of have a positive effect on vocal fold vibration, or sometimes if we are phonating with kind of a not so efficient setting in the vocal tract, it can actually also disturb the vocal fold vibration, causing several different types of difficulties for singing and also in speaking, I guess. Very important section of our instrument. It also is responsible of shaping the initial tone from our sound from the vocal folds, so that we hear it as a different vowels. All these sound colors that we kind of perceive as different vowels, they are result from the shaping of the vocal tract. Basically, our articulators, like tongue, shapes in the case of tongue, it shapes the shape of the mouth cavity, and in that way it affects the acoustic properties of the vocal tract, making the sound like a specific vowel that we want to produce. So that type of quick peek at what is, you could say, under the hood of our voice instrument. Only that is chasing my piano's pedal cord. I'm trying to rescue it. So 3 important parts in our instrument: the lungs produce initial pause, then we have the voice source or vocal fold vibration, which is kind of initiated by the energy from the lungs, and then we have the vocal tract, that is sort of a resonator, or some might use sometimes expression of filter in our instrument. And what we are here training basically is the cooperation of these 3 parts. That's how you can see it. One interesting thing about voice in general, it is quite interesting actually that we have this unique instrument where we have our vocal folds are only 1 centimeter long, yet it's capable of making such a variety of sounds and also very powerful sound. So this is actually quite, you can think of it as a quite unique instruments in many ways. So I hope you have some curiosity at this point to see what other things we have coming up. But for now, I thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if this seems interesting and you want to learn more. Thanks.